The Salem Witch Trials through Margaret's eyes. I created the character Margaret Wallen. She is a middle-class, 28-year-old woman who lives a very simple yet lovely life. She is married to Joseph Wallen and has 3 children, including Mary, Ann, and Noah Wallen. She spends most of her time as a working midwife alongside Goody Osborne, yet also manages to help her family in the fields. She is also a very holy woman. She attends church every Sabbath day, and willingly paid for Reverend Parris's golden candlesticks to enrich her prayer. One day she was tending to the fields with her family when a horse-drawn wagon halted by their house. Noah, being the youngest, ran to the wagon to see what the commotion was. He talked to the men and ran back to Joseph and Margaret, yelling about the men taking Margaret. Margaret and Joseph walked to the men. They said that Ruth Putnam accused her of being a witch. She replied that she was not a witch, but they had a warrant for her arrest. She refused to go. She hollered and cried as they forcibly seized her and bound her to the wagon along with Martha Corey, Rebecca Nurse, and many others. Her husband, who tried to reach her, was held back by 2 other men, while Mary and Ann wept. Noah, in confusion, cried out for Margaret as the wagon lurched forward. Margaret learned that Ruth Putnam accused her of being a witch because Thomas Putnam, her father, wanted to get back at her husband for refusing to sell him land. Ruth Putnam has been working for her father's agenda for a while now, however, because she also convicted poor George Jacobs because he wanted his land. When they searched Margaret's house, they found numerous recipe books that were handed down in her family from generation to generation. The books had many common recipes; however, being the adventurous woman she was, she also had Barbados recipes she learned from Tituba. Before she was accused, Margaret believed that the girls were the hand of God, ridding Salem from the devil. Margaret, through fear, was convinced that the girls' acting was true and wanted all witches to be executed. However, after she was accused, she believed the girls were lying filth who sent innocent people to their death. Ruth Putnam accused her of being a witch, yet she believes she is not, even though everyone believes a dishonest Ruth Putnam. Right after being accused, Margaret was livid. She knew that she was not a witch and that her friends knew that she wasn't a witch, yet nobody stood up for her. She was even angrier at Thomas Putnam forcing Ruth to accuse her so that he could get back at her husband, blackening Ruth's own soul in the process. However, as she sat chained in the jail for many days and nights, Margaret's anger slowly dissipated into fear. She was scared of not being able to say goodbye to her family and friends. She was scared to die, especially in front of her sweet children. Yet as she sat chained in the cell, she prayed. Margaret could not bring herself to confess to being a witch. She was taken to the gallows and hung before she could pray or even say goodbye to her loved ones, while her husband and 3 kids watched in sadness. That is it. Thank you for watching my presentation.